Okay, number 38. Number 38 says the RS, well, I'll just let you read through it. What type of a function is it? It's another piecewise function. There's how many parts to it? Two. It says write a two-part formula for R of X. So the company offered to take a church group to the lake resort, $150 per person for 30 or fewer. If 30 or fewer signed up. So in my piecewise function, if what's your first domain?
0 to 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say if X is less than or equal to 30, right? If X is less than or equal to 30, how much money does it cost? $150 per person. X is the number of people, right? Where X is the number of people. So I want to know my rate for X number of people. And if X is less than or equal to 30, it's going to cost $150 per person. There's the first part. What's your second domain?
30 or more. 30 to 70.
30 to 70. So if it's greater than 30, but does it say includes 70?
Includes, yeah, because the maximum is.
Yep, the capacity. So it has to include that 70. So anything, any number of people between 30 and 70, what are they going to charge?
$15 less than
$15 less per person. So that means $135 per person. Better deal the more people you can get. Something like the calendar sales you just had. The more you can sell, the cheaper it is to produce them, for an example. Okay, think about if you were to, okay, easier way to set it up is just think about making a t-shirt. You have the cost of trying to come up with the design and the template screen that you have to use to make the shirt, right? That's going to be $20, right? If you sell one shirt, that full expense of making that screen to make the shirt goes to the one person for that t-shirt. But what if you have two t-shirts? That $20 can be split between two people. So what happens to the price of the shirt now? It goes down. So the more that you have, it's like you have this overhead expense, this overhead cost. I know how much it's going to cost me. This will happen the same way if you own your own business. You know how much you have to spend a month. You can do it just for you as a family, but you don't have income to offset it. But you know how much. There's some bills, monthly bills, that are going to be flat rates. You know what they are. Your cell phone should be a flat rate unless you go over on your data. Then it's going to be more than that. Your electricity, you can set up to where you pay a flat rate. Your gas bill could be that way too. All they do is they just take what it cost you last year, what you spent last year, and they kind of prorate that out, and they just say, okay, I know how much of an increase we're going to have, and if I divide that by 12, how much would that be per month? So some months you won't be paying as much because you didn't use it for certain months when it wasn't really, really hot or really, really cold. July, you used more than what you're paying because it's really hot. So therefore, you're not paying as much as you normally would if you didn't come up with just a flat rate. But maybe in the month of August, September, when it's cooler out, I'd say maybe September, it's cooler out, you're not running your air conditioner or furnace, so your bill would not be as high. You're paying more right now, but you're making up for it because you didn't pay as much in another month. Does that make sense? You're splitting it up over the months instead of paying larger amounts during certain months and smaller amounts during other months. Not any different than your taxes. Your taxes, you determine how much you want to come out of every single paycheck. They take that out of every single paycheck so that you don't have to pay the full amount by April 15th. Can you imagine if they didn't take anything out at all? And then all of a sudden you had to pay thousands of dollars on April 15th and you don't even make that a month? Then what are you going to do? So that's kind of the way that this works. But the more people you have, the less it's going to cost you because you can divvy that out amongst it. And maybe up to 30,000, or not up to 30,000, that's the last example. Up to 30, that's what it takes just to recoup that cost. After that, you're actually going to be making some money because you've already paid for the setup fee or something like that. Same thing with traveling expenses. It takes a little bit of money. You need a little bit of money to sit there and set up the motels and the transportation and all that stuff if you go on some cruise. But the more people you get, you can spread that out amongst the people. Okay, so they ask us to set up the two formulas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then what? Nope, not graph. Then calculate. So just calculate, what is R of 35? I just put a graph up there. What is R of 35? 35, you would use which equation? 35 people. 35 people fits in the second equation for the domain. So you're just going to take 135 times 35. And that's going to give you, I think, $4,725.
Yeah.
If that many people were going on a trip. And the next thing they ask you to calculate is, what if 70 people went? What if I filled the bus? How much money would that be? 135 times 70. And that's going to be $9,450. 70 people.